we have got one more thing to do before we end this podcast, which is our predictions.
This is the bit I've been looking forward to.
For 2020. So, firstly, I've said that Abby and Kevin finally and properly get together because they've been, sniffing around each other for quite a while now, and I think that they're going to become a couple. Although she's going to have grand ideas about how he should spend his money, and then he's going to dump her.
How could you say that?
But the money will all go because Sophie and or Rosie will run up massive debts abroad, and or they're going to get kidnapped abroad, and then he has to use the money to pay off the hostage takers.
By the Yakuza.
Yeah, so whatever, he's gonna use up all his money. Or maybe, like, Jack could use the money. He has split it into 4, hasn't he? He's given it to the children, but I still think that, I don't think there's going to be any major purchases for Kevin this year with that money. It's going to be frittered away or forgotten about. I also reckon that Jack is going to be aged up a year, which isn't unknown for Soap, obviously, and it definitely happened with Addie and Asher recently. I think that he's going to start secondary school in September. He's due to start September 2021. I think he's going to start in September because the actor who plays him is already quite a bit older than him anyway. And also, September this year is when Liam Connor is due to start secondary school, so I think it might be handy for the two of them as mates to start secondary school together. But my other prediction with that is that maybe Kevin is tempted to use some of his money to send him to Oak Hill School, where Rosie also went, but in the end he doesn't, because he's not a snob like that.
I think you've obviously done a lot of work here in actually thinking up storylines, and I'm enjoying them.
Only some of them I have. Some of them I haven't, but at the beginning I was thinking of storylines here.
Yeah.
But Jack being aged up. Grace dies and Michael gets baby Tiana. Michael blames Aggie for Grace's death somehow. I haven't got the finer details about that, but there's already a bit of resentment.
To blame for everything.
There's already a bit of resentment from Michael to Aggie in this story because she's driving Grace away, and I think Grace is going to die and Michael's going to be left holding the baby. Another outlandish prediction from me: relationship, James and Craig.
You said what?
That's right. I think that Craig is going to realise that he's bisexual, or he's going to come out as bi or something. And
you think he's going to be bi rather than gay?
Yeah, because he's already been pining after Bethany, and then he had the other artist girlfriend a few years ago whose name I've forgotten.
But don't forget, Coronation Street has been guilty, as have many TV shows, of bi erasure, so I'm very glad that you've addressed this problem.
I think that Craig could be
Good
it.
job.
And I'm basing this just on the fact that a couple of months ago, Craig went for a little jog with James. I was like, why is he having anything to do with him? And nothing's happened since. But I'm reckoning that maybe they might have a bit of a thing. Craig wants to keep it as a secret because he doesn't want it to be accepted by the police, and obviously James wants to keep his sexuality a secret as well, so it's all looking like it's going to be okay then. But then Dee Dee Bailey arrives, old Diana Bailey arrives, and she is a high-flying lesbian, and then James sees that Ed is very accepting of her, so he decides that that is the moment that he should come out to Ed. And basically, he and Craig are both out and proud in time for Manchester Pride in the summer.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Has Dee Dee been a lesbian the whole time? Or has she just gone to Chicago and become a lesbian there?
I don't know. I think, obviously, because she has been all the time, but maybe being in America is what's brought it out of her.
Ed is accepting of her. Is he accepting of something he's already known for a long time?
No. Okay. Although he could. Okay. He could have been her secret keeper all this time.
Wouldn't it be funny if both the Bailey parents were like, secretly, this child is gay, but I won't tell you because you won't like it. And they're like, I'm a bigot? What do you mean? You're the bigot.
Maybe even Dee Dee and Paula could have a thing, another high-flying lesbian.
I forgot that Dee Dee has not been introduced. Yes, 2020 has got to be Dee Dee's year.
Right.
I can't, honestly, I'm just going to say this, I cannot wait to see what Dee Dee's like.
I know, very exciting.
Have we, we really need...
We don't know that she's going to be in it this year.
No, I know, I've got no idea. We just know that there's another Bailey.
Yeah.
And she has a bit of a backstory, so it'd be a shame if she didn't turn up.
Jeff is fed up with Alia interfering with everything, and he says, right, that's it, we're moving up. So he tries to sell the house and move away, but somehow Alia and or Ryan stop him just in time. Now, I reckon that he might die. I reckon like an Easter death for Jeff, possibly.
It's like Jesus.
Now, my continuation of this story is that Tim inherits his money, which is actually some of Yasmin's money that Tim's inheriting.
What a good idea.
But then he gives it back to Yasmin because he's such a good guy, and it ties it up all nice and neatly. Although Yasmin can say, thank you, Tim, for the money, but tell you what, you keep some of this so that you can get married to Sally properly. And also, triumphant return of Gina for Tim and Sally's proper legal wedding. And maybe Charlie, his air hostess. Real wife. Was she an air hostess? No, she just wanted to play with him. Was she?
No, she was an air hostess. She was
Anyway, she tried to get some of the money off him beforehand.
What are they called? They're not called air hostess.
Stewardess.
No.
Trolley dolly.
No. Flight attendant.
Yes.
God damn it.
So that's where this story's going, I say. Now, my next one is a very involved continuation of the Asher storyline. So, an ex-Bollywood actress comes to Weatherfield High to speak to the students about, drama, darling, and inspires Asher to be happy with the way that she is, because she's been a very successful Bollywood star. Doesn't have lightened skin, and Asher realises, I don't need to do any of this.
The whole point of this storyline was that she went to India, where Bollywood stars are very...
Yeah, but this one wasn't.
Okay.
I'm not at the end of this.
Carry on.
And Asher takes more of an interest in singing and dancing and stuff. But the twist is that it turns out that this ex-Bollywood actress is none other than Nina Mandel, who was a character from Coronation Street 10 years ago, who Dev had an affair with in 2008. I reckon this is going to be her chance to bring her back. Now, she would have to be recast because the actress who played Nina is currently in Hollyoaks.
She doesn't know that we want her for this, though. Give her a chance.
And not only did Dev have an affair with Nina over 10 years ago, but also his daughter Tara. And I don't know whether anybody remembers any of this happening, but this was a fairly big story at the time. Tara was the one who made the big naked poster of Dev and put it up on Victoria Court. You remember that, don't you?
I do, yeah. Him sexy.
Now, the actress who plays Tara, I don't think has had any acting gigs for a few years, so she could definitely come back. And she'll be carrying Dev's baby. And it's going to be yeah, I know. What?
No. She's not carrying the baby. She had been.
No, she was carrying the baby. She had a very long pregnancy, a long gestation period. So she introduces them to their 10-year-old child, and this could be somebody who's a friend of Liam or Jake, maybe, just to tie them into it as well. Now, Asher is horrified to discover that her dad had an affair with this Bollywood actress and her daughter within the same year, and she's got a...
Okay,
he did.
Right.
So she runs away to India to get away from him. Also, she's like, everything that this woman told me is, I can't believe her anymore, so I'm going to get more skin creams. And then Dev has to go and rescue her. And that's kind of the end of that story. And Tara doesn't stay at the end, basically. Involved. So that's my long continuation of what is absolutely 100% definitely going to happen in the Asher storyline. Meanwhile, I think I want to a few more low-hanging fruits or easy ones or vaguer ones. I can't remember next. Nina's going to move on to the street, where she becomes gradually normalised, for want of a better word. And because she's been looking after Richard, she's actually a really great cook, so she's going to work at the cafe.
Sorry, can I stop you there?
What?
She's a girl, isn't she?
Yes.
She can't be a good cook. This is Coronation.
She's going to buck the trend, and while Shona is in her coma, she's going to take over the roll buttering duties along with Aggie. Maybe relationship drama with Craig, because I can kind of see Nina being Craig's type or Craig being Nina's type, and that's all going to tie in obviously to the Craig relationship with James story, which is obviously also going to happen. You heard it here first, folks. Ali and Toya are going to carry on growing closer, and Toya's going to find out about him killing Ronan, and that's still something that's been unresolved, and it's been over a year now. So she doesn't know whether to reveal this information to her flatmates. Now, she's living with Imran, who should probably know about this thing because maybe he's involved in some kind of legal case with it. Craig, who's a policeman, and Alia, because... why should Alia know? I don't even remember.
She's nosy.
Yeah, so she doesn't want to tell any of these people, but in the end, Imran finds out and dumps her because she kept this secret from him. And one of the three is going to dob Ali into the police, but there's going to be a bit of a mystery about, was it Imran or Craig or Alia
I like that
tell the police
done a great job
on Ali. Now, speaking of Ali, the storyline with Gary is going to obviously rumble on into 2020, where Gary's going to cut ties. He's going to attempt to cut ties with his dark past after the shocking developments on Christmas Day, but it all bubbles up to the surface again when Rick's body bubbles up to the surface of the Greg Woods, and then his daughter comes back on the scene. Gary becomes more and more desperate, and this is going to lead to his first intentional kill. He is responsible for a few deaths so far, but 2020 is going to be the year where he kills somebody, and it's going to be Ali. I think that Ali is not going to be in the programme this time next year. I think James Burrows wants to move on, and he's going to be offed by Gary. However, Gary is going to get his own comeuppance around December time for the 60th anniversary, after Imran finds out that he was the one solely responsible for the roof collapse. It wasn't anything to do with Rick. And maybe we'll get a little cameo from Anna Windass as Gary leaves the show.
Maybe.
Also to do with the 60th anniversary, I'm still keeping on going with my Curly prediction. Either Curly or maybe even Mavis, because we've seen both Kevin and Thelma appeared on that Christmas on Corrie documentary recently, and the whole Rita story at the moment could involve Mavis coming back, so one or the other might come back for that. I've got Seb's going to end up with Alina. I think that Jenny is going to hire Alina to replace Gemma in the pub, because obviously Gemma can't work there anymore, what with the baby thing. So Alina's going to be the new Rover's barmaid, but she's going to have a personality change and turn nasty. She's particularly going to be bitchy to Emma, because they're going to work together in the pub.
Rivals.
And Emma's still pining after Seb, and Alina doesn't like this. So Alina's going to become a bit of a Tanya Puglia, I reckon. But Jenny will rumble her and tell her to sling her hook, which will leave Emma and Seb back together again. Emma's going to be pregnant by the end of the year. And then all of a sudden, as often happens when characters get pregnant, she's going to become a lot more boring. So I hope that one's not true, but that's what I predict there for Emma. Jade's story, Evelyn's going to get the measure of her, but Ty and Fizz are going to throw Evelyn out because they trust Jade more. Maybe Evelyn's going to move in with Ken for a bit for, comedy hijinks with him and Claudia, or maybe she could move in with Roy, he could repay the favour. But because Peter, I reckon, who's living with Ken at the moment, is going to move in with Carla in Victoria Court at some point by the end of the year, which would leave either a place in number 1 for Evelyn to stay or over at Roy's house. Bernie's plan to catfish Kel works somehow. He's jailed. I haven't really got any ideas about how that's going to work, but I don't think it's going to be long before Kel gets thrown away. We're going to have a quieter year for Gemma and Chesney after the overexposure this year. Faye Windass is going to turn 18 in March, and I reckon that she's at the bistro because Pervy Ray is going to see her as fair game. So together, Faye and Alia are going to bring Ray down, and then Sophie's going to come back and buy the bistro, or maybe Leanne, I've said here. One of those two, Sophie or Leanne in charge of the bistro. It's not going to be Ray by the end of the year. No. Leanne's going to get her time to shine. We haven't seen much Leanne recently. I think she's going to have a big issues-based storyline, and Jane Danson is going to be back on the Best Actresses nominee list, where she was often for quite a long period. She was one of the show's leading actresses. I think she's going to be back with a bang in 2020. Billy's going to marry Paul. This is going to be Coronation Street's first big gay wedding. Granny Spellman is going to return to protest about this wedding going on, because obviously Summer is going to be part of that. And then I reckon I think maybe a bit of locking horns between Granny Spellman and Evelyn could be quite fun. And
I would love Evelyn to just be casually dismissive of every relationship and be like, why should you care when anyone gets married? It's boring as hell.
I think maybe something's going to go on with Summer's inheritance as well, because I imagine at the moment Summer is probably the main inheritor of Mr. and Mrs. Spellman's vast fortune. Exactly. So I wonder whether she says, if you're going to go along with this Summer, then I'm not going to give you money, or she's like, money isn't important. Something about that anyway. So I reckon that Grandad Spellman might have already died at this point, and maybe this is going to end in the death of Granny Spellman. I think, sadly, either by the end of the year Michelle Connor is going to be back, or that Kim Marsh's return will have been announced already. I think it's going to be a short time away from the show, and Kim has said, I'll be back. I reckon it's going to be sooner than we really want. Still going to roll over my Irma Barlow returns prediction. And also on the subject of returns, I think we haven't seen the last of Jan as Jan again. He's going to be back for Eileen. So those are my
really
predictions.
good ones.
I'm quite pleased with some of this.
Nice
I don't
job.
think I'm going to be quite as accurate this year because some of them were quite involved, but never mind. That's what I think. Gemma, over to you.
I reckon that, well, these are my predictions, and some of them are...
Time for Corrie.
Oh, Alexa says it's nearly time for guys. Sorry, we're doing something, Alexa.
We're busy. Right, Abby and Kevin will get together, and Abby will get on so well with Jack, that she wants to reconnect with the twins.
Oh yeah, nice reason.
Adam Barlow is supposed to marry Sarah, but Gary interferes to prevent it from happening, and Adam leaves the street.
Oh, okay.
Toya and Imran will have a story.
Please.
Okay, here's one.
Yeah.
Alia will be raped by Ray.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan will be overcome with guilt because he was warned by Michelle, and he is now working with Gary as his goon.
Yeah.
And he will tell Gary about what's happened. So together, they confront Ray, things get out of hand, and Ryan will think that he's responsible for Ray's death.
Oh, nice.
Gary uses it against him until Ali finds out. There is another confrontation, and Ali is killed by Gary at the end of the year.
Ah, that's what I said as well. So
I
we're
know.
both banking on Gary killing Ali this year.
Carla will go grow the beard oil business and realise she gets a buzz from business. She decides to try to work at the factory, but Nick blocks her, so she starts working at another business selling something different.
Mm-hmm.
Nina eventually lets Roy into her heart and works at the cafe.
Okay, good. On the same wavelength there.
Bernie retrains as a nurse and works at the medical centre with Toya and Moira.
I hope so. That'd be nice.
Charlie turns up at the Metcalf's home and says she doesn't want any trouble, but she causes loads when she refuses to force him. She wants to give the relationship another go or get half his money and horse.
Half his horse.
Yeah.
Front horse or the front end or the back end. This sounds like a panto thing.
Horizontally, the top part. David will confess his feelings. No, Daniel will confess his feelings to Bethany
Ugh.
and says he loves her, but she will tell him they cannot be together.
Yes.
Jenny's old husband will return
Oh, that's a nice one.
and make trouble for her and Johnny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Bernie will entice Kel.
That brings feelings of old Tom in the paddling pool right back up again, wouldn't it?
Sad times. Bernie will entice Cal into a confrontation about his pedo ways and record it and upload it to the internet. Cal will be shunned and try to kill himself. Paul will visit him in the hospital and forgive him and says, "You have no power over me anymore." And then Cal is left alone and diminished.
Oh, that's a good one. That's nice.
Beth will criticise Daniel's raising of Bertie, but they will grow stronger once they stop moaning at each other.
Yeah.
Claudia decides she wants to travel the world and asks Ken to go on a cruise with her. He is all packed to go, but then decides he can't leave the street because it's their 60th anniversary. Max keeps playing truant, and his grandmother decides to actually go for custody this time.
Marion, you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shona is still in a coma, and David has lost all interest in anything else except her. Max ends up trying drugs and getting beaten up, which brings David to his senses.
That's a good one. These are some good predictions, Gemma.
Billy and Paul will get married.
Yeah.
Mm.
Jinx.
One of Gemma's babies will gets really sick, and then, this might be a bit obscure, Chesney realises that he's been neglecting Joseph, who has actually gone to live in Wilby to start a commune where they are vegans except they make soap from goat's milk.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of Joseph recently, it's true.
And Wilby is because I asked she who will not be named to name a random city in England. She said Wilby, which is apparently...
Well, I'm sure you will be right with that one.
Jan returns from wherever he went and woos Eileen and they get married.
Oh, yeah.
Emma and Seb get back together. Jim McDonald returns to the street to rekindle his love for Liz, but she refuses him. Emma is aghast at her grandfather's background and pulls away from the McDonalds, thinking that Steve hid this from her. Amy tells her she has to take the rough with the smooth. Rita will leave.
What?
Yeah.
Blimey, bold prediction there.
Jeff will goad Yaz into shoving him and put her in prison. Because the police, she'll shove him and then he'll be like, "What did you do?" And then I'll phone the police. The police will come and she won't, she's so honourable, she will admit what she did. And then Jeff will say, "I have no choice, I have to press charges, I can't let you abuse me." And then he'll start all this stuff about domestic abuse against men. And Yasmin will go to prison.
Oh, he could get Tyrone on his side on that one as well. What with his past with Kirsty.
This prediction here is for @BrotherSoap on Twitter.
Yes.
Grace is revealed to be a wrong-un. And she has to give the baby up to Michael.
Okay.
And leaves the show.
So I'm going to have her die. You're going to have her being a wrong-un.
Yeah.
But either way, Michael's going to be
left holding the baby. Finally, Summer will become the Greta Thunberg of Weatherfield. Because if anyone's going to do it, and it's not going to be Roy, it's going to be Summer.
Nice.
Thank you.